Okay, so for this week, ang topic natin ay safety precautions kapag gagalaw tayo ng computer hardware. So last time is first meet natin, pinanood ko kayo ng at least dun sa computer hardware para magkaroon kayo ng mga idea kung ano po ba yung mga topics or lessons na i-discuss ko regarding throughout this semester. Okay, so meron lang ako ditong short slides. Kailangan natin i-take to para at least bago tayo maggalaw-galaw ng mga parts ng computer hardware, alam natin yung safety para hindi tayo mapahamak. Okay, please check, pa-confirm kung nakikita na yung screen.
Yes po.
Okay, kita naman. So short slides lang naman to. Again, recorded naman to. Mamaya check nyo na lang din ha. So first natin, safety precautions in computer hardware. May CSS. So kasama kasi ito sa qualification title ng CSS. And then, next, introduction natin to computer hardware safety. Ano po ba yung purpose? Bakit kailangan natin i-discuss to? Para syempre, yung why safety matters when working with computer hardware, and then yung risks na involved, mga electrical hazards, static discharge, physical injury, and damage to equipment. Para at least aware tayo na ano po ba yung mga possible mangyari if ever na magkamali tayo or baka mamaya hindi natin alam, meron na tayong maling ginagawa or maling performance kapag gumagalaw na ng physical computer or ng ating computer hardware. Okay? And then, ito yung ating mga common safety hazards in computer hardware. So, syempre, first, meron tayong electrical hazards. Nandito yung power surge, exposed wires, and then yung improper grounding. So, pag sinabi po nating power surge, ito po yung minsan kasi yung kuryente natin. Syempre, minsan hindi natin alam, mag-brown out, tapos bigla na lang bumabalik. So, pagka ganun kasi nangyayari, parang tinatawag natin fluctuations, yung electrical current na pumapasok dun sa ating convenient outlet, and then syempre affected na rin yung ating computer, possible na malakas yung voltage. Okay, so ano po ba yung mga dapat gawin? Mamaya discuss natin later on kapag naka-experience tayo ng ganon. And then ito namang mga exposed wires. So syempre, since nasa electrical hazards tayo, gumagamit tayo ng kuryente, kailangan alam natin kung paano natin malalaman kung meron bang exposed wires. So pag sinabi natin exposed wires, yun yung mga wires na connected through electrical na merong mga minsan may gat-gat ng daga. Hindi naman may iwasan yun kasi kahit saan ka naman pumunta is meron daga. May kita mo, may mga balat yun. So possible minsan mapadikit ka doon, ang tendency makukuryente ka. Okay? And then minsan, depende na rin sa pagbabaklas or pagkakabit, kapag gumagawa ka na ng computer, possible na ikaw mismo yung makasugat, lalo na pag gumagamit ka ng mga sharps material. Like knives, cutter, pwede rin makasugat yung mga screwdrivers na almost ginagamit kapag nagbabaklas ng computer. Okay? And then, ito namang improper grounding. Ito naman yung pwede kang baka magulat ka pag hawak mo ng computer is merong ground. Okay, o minsan may experience yun. Kapag hindi improper yung grounding or hindi ka nakapag-discharge, possible na mangyari sa iyo yun. Okay? Next naman yung ating static discharge. So kapag ganon, ito grounding din to, yung tinatawag natin ay may ground. Ganon. Okay? So pwede ma-damage yung sensitive components like CPUs, RAMs, and motherboards. So kaya kailangan properly, kailangan makapag-discharge ka para at least maiwasan natin yung pagka-damage ng any components or internal parts ng computer hardware. Okay? Then next, yung ating physical injury. Ayan. So mostly kapag ganito, lalo na kapag first time mo, minsan masusugatan ka talaga. So may mga cases, mga last students previously sa kakamadali, minsan nasusugatan nila yung sarili nila. Okay? So yun, mag-ingat lang sa mga sharp edges on components like cases and then metal parts. So possible kasi pagka ganito, nagkasugat ka, syempre, magkakaroon ng bleeding, and then kung malaki yung bleeding, kung malakas yung sugat na nakuha mo, pwedeng mangyari yung dugo is pumunta doon sa mga components, internal components. ng motherboard or ng computer. O pwede sa motherboard, pwede sa RAM, na hindi natin napansin. O tapos while assembly, inon natin yung computer, hindi natin alam, meron na palang dugo, syempre magkakaroon ng liquid contact or conduction, pwedeng mag-short and then mag-cause ng damage ng parts or ng computer natin. Okay? And then, next, yung ating heat and ventilation issue. So, pwede kasi kapag hindi maganda, pagka madumi na, puro alikabok, although umiikot pa yung fan, pero makikita nyo, puro alikabok na hindi nalilinis na maayos. And then yung ventilation natin, for example, yung CSU natin, di ba, usually parang box siya. So pag sinabi natin CSU, meaning nun is Computer System Unit. Ayun yung mostly na tinatawag nyo na CPU. Okay? So pag CPU kasi sinabi nyo, kapag dito sa term ng basic computer hardware, Computer Processing Unit yun. Yun yung processor. Okay? So hindi natin siya identify the CPU, yung case na nakikita nyo. Okay? Ang CPU is processor lang. Ngayon, ang tatawag natin doon, ang proper term kapag ka dun sa box natin, yung tower type na pinipindot natin, is CSU, which is Computer System Units. Okay? Kapag yun is hindi maganda yung ventilation, kapag nilagay mo siya sa box, nakulog, na walang halos malabasan ng hangin or papasukan ng hangin, papangit yung performance, and then syempre, most likely, pwede rin makadamage ng parts ng computer natin. Okay, so yan po yung apat na common safety hazards natin in computer hardware. So sana nasusundan pa, may mga dumagdag naman siguro, dalawa lang yata o isa. Okay, again, recorded naman to ha. Okay, next natin, safety precautions sa ating electrical hazards. So unplugging equipment, always unplug the computer or power supply before starting to work. So napaka-importante nito. So usually kasi, for example, ginagamit natin yung computer natin. Mostly nakasaksak. Tapos, and the next time na ginamit natin is meron na lang problem na alam natin gawin kung paano ipipix, pero nakalimutan natin tanggalin sa saksakan. So, possible mangyari, baka makuryente kayo. So, always remember na kapag gagalawin nyo na yung mga internal parts or magto-troubleshooting kayo, make sure na naka-unplug sa convenient outlet yung inyong mga CSU. Para maiwasan syempre, yung pagkakaroon ng electrical hazards. Okay? And then next natin, pwede tayong gumamit ng surge protectors. So ito ay nagpro-protect against power surges or spikes. Yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyong fluctuation minsan. Okay? And then meron link dito para at least makita natin, meron tayong at least video presentation kahit online lang to explain sa atin kung ano ba yung mga surge protectors na sinasabi dito. So, naka-YouTube link lang naman siya. Bukas lang tayo ng ano. Okay, check lang. Nasusundan pa ba? Naririnig pa ba ako?
Yes po.
Okay, so ito, meron lang 5-minute video para at least to help us understand kung ano ba yung surge protectors. Okay? So, sana marinig. Check natin kung maririnig, lalakasan ko na lang yung volume. After mga 30 seconds, check ko kung okay naman yung audio sa inyo.
Okay, a walk. Just the right amount of heat will give you a delicious breakfast item. You can coat it in maple syrup, but too much and you'll end up with a charred pile of crap. So similarly, the sensitive equipment inside your PC, home theater, gaming console, or whatever else needs a certain amount of electricity to run properly, and too much will cause malfunction or even destroy it entirely. So the power that comes out of your outlet on your wall is actually susceptible to voltage surges. So that's why many people use surge protectors to keep their stuff safe from nasty.
Pause ko lang ng konti. Okay naman ba yung sounds? Paki-check.
Okay, sir.
Goods naman ha. So tutuloy ko lang ha.
Electrical mishaps. So then, how these work and what can they actually protect against? It might be helpful to first understand what a surge protector isn't. It is not the same as a regular power strip, which provides no form of surge protection or suppression or anything like that. It is not the same as an uninterruptible power supply or UPS, which provides the emergency backup power during an outage. And it is not the same as a power conditioner, which can clean up mild interference that causes electrical noise. It's a power running to your home isn't the best. Instead, a surge protector does exactly what it says. It protects against voltage surges, which happen whenever there's an unintended change in electrical charge somewhere on the circuit that's going to your power outlet. Because voltage is basically just a difference in charge that allows current to flow. So too much voltage can cause too much current, which can fry your electronics. Although surges are often associated with lightning strikes, the most frequent culprit is actually power-hungry appliances. So things like bad wiring and problems with the power grid itself can also cause surges. So then how does a surge protector help? Whenever it detects a surge, it actually shunts the extra electricity through a semiconducting material to a grounding wire, which connects to that third prong on your plug. This will send excess voltage back to the return line in the building's wiring, which might trip a circuit breaker, but won't damage whatever is plugged into the surge protector. But before you rush out to buy one, remember that all surge protectors have limitations. Most importantly, they don't last forever. Every surge protector is rated for a certain number of joules, a measurement of energy which is absorbed. And once a certain number of joules hit your surge protector, it won't offer any more protection, and hardly anything will save you from a really strong power surge, such as from a nearby lightning strike. Well, gee, Linus, okay then, how do I even know what to look for? There are so many times that try to lure me in with fancy packaging and promises that they'll protect me from the hammer of Thor or whatever. Well, first off, Thor's hammer is actually a physical object and not really anything to do with electricity. And second of all, make sure you get one that is certified by Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, a consulting company that tests electronics equipment. There are a lot of cheaper options out there that haven't been independently tested and may not actually protect anything. Also pay attention to the clamping voltage, which is what the surge protector will reduce the voltage to. Although the power that comes out of the North American outlet is 120 volts, most electronics can actually deal with small surges on their own. So anything with a clamping voltage below 400 volts is probably fine. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll also want a protector that's rated for a high number of joules, so it'll last longer and protect against the larger surges. 600 is a good place to start, but there are plenty of units that offer much more protection. And finally, many manufacturers will replace fried equipment up to a certain dollar amount. So make sure you read the fine print carefully so that you don't end up losing, $500,000 of stuff that you had plugged into your surge protector and have to haul all that stuff to the scrapyard. But that kind of thing can be good to watch out for as. And you know what else is good to watch out for? Videos on lynda.com. That's where you can go if you want to watch and learn from top experts who are passionate about teaching their subject matter. What kind of subject matter, you might ask? Great question. All kinds of stuff. Photography.
Okay ba yung audio? May nag-chat na medyo hindi okay. Okay, sorry kung hindi naman okay yung audio. Tawag dito. Naka-record naman to, siguro mas maayos kapag pinanood nyo ulit kanina. So basically, this video is para at least to understand naman kung ano ba yung surge protection or yung mga power surges na kailangan lang din natin malaman. So more on electrical side na kasi to, hindi na natin papalalimin pa. At least meron lang tayo ng idea about sa kuryente kasi ginagamit din natin yan. Okay? So one thing na tawag dito na dito sa ating power surge protectors, so pwedeng gumamit tayo ng ABR or yung automated volt regulator, and then pakita ko lang din sa inyo yung picture para at least aware kayo. ABR, ayan. So ito yung almost cheapest na ABR. So ang ginagawa niya is dito kahit mag-fluctuate yung kuryente dun sa convenient outlet kung saan nakasaksak, dito muna dadaan sa kanya. So kahit anong fluctuation, kung tumaas man yung voltahe, hindi maaapektuhan kung ano man yung mga devices or electrical equipments na nakasaksak sa kanya. So ang mangyayari, kapag tumaas, for example, ang kuryente kasi natin is 230 volts. For example, naging 300 volts yun, ang unang masisira is ito. And then hindi na maaapektuhan kung ano man yung mga equipment or electrical appliances na nakakonect sa kanya. So ibig sabihin, para siyang fuse. Kung alam niyo lang din yung term. And then, next naman, may mas magandang klase dito is yung UPS. Okay, so ayan. Sample picture lang tayo. Ayan yung mga example picture natin ng mga UPS. Nakikita pa yung screen, tama? Paki-check. Sagot. Okay, yung screen ha. Sagot kayo pag tinanong ko. Okay, o yan, sige. Ayan, pagdating naman sa UPS, ayan, ang brand na to APC ha. Nasa na nga ulit. So ito, same as ABR din naman siya. Kapag tumaas yung voltahe, nagkaroon ng power surges, hindi maapektuhan kung ano yung mga electrical appliances na connected sa kanya. Now, mas maganda lang siya kasi meron siyang built-in battery. Okay? So, kaya siya may built-in battery kasi hindi katulad ng ABR, kapag nag-fluctuate, or for example, nawala ng kuryente, nag-brown out, automatic, shutdown din yung computer mo bigla. O now, kapag UPS naman yung ginamit mo, biglang nag-cut yung power, nag-brown out, nag-black out, meron kang time to at least properly shut down yung computer or any electrical appliances or devices yung nakakabit sa kanya kasi meron siyang battery. So, ibig sabihin, kapag nag-cut ng kuryente, hindi agad mamamatay yung electrical appliances na nakasaksak kay UPS. So, meron siyang battery o it depends na rin sa capacity ng battery kung ilang minuto pwedeng mabuhay yung computer mo or any electrical appliances na nakakabit sa kanya. Okay, so pero hindi ibig sabihin nung kapag nag-brownout, tuloy-tuloy ka pa rin hanggang bukas. Meron lang syempre capacity or minutes remaining para makonsume mo yung battery na naka-store sa kanya. Okay, yun yung kagandahan kapag ka UPS naman yung gamit yun. So both of them, ABR and UPS is pwede nating gamitin para sa sinasabi nating surge protectors. Okay, malinaw? Pakisagot nga. Kailangan ko ng boses. Anyone? Say yes lang. Kung nandiyan pa kayo.
Yes, sir.
Yan. Medyo dumami na tayo ha. Next natin, yung tinatawag namang proper grounding. Okay? So, nakalagay is ground your circuit before touching internal components to avoid shock. Okay, so paano ba yan? Ano bang ground your circuit? Paano mo i-ground? So, yung ground nyo, yung static discharge kasi nito, yung sinasabi natin na ground, kagaya nung minention ko earlier dito sa previous slides. Possible na kapag hawak mo ng computer, lalo na kapag nakasaksak siya, is possible na may ground kayong mararamdaman, yung parang nakakagulat, no? So, merong ways para at least mawala yon kapag kayo na yung, kapag need nyo talagang gumalaw nung yung mga internal parts ng computer na. So, again, meron tayo another link dito. Tingin ko siya pa rin yon. Check na lang natin. Yeah. This will help us explain kung ano po ba yung grounding na sinasabi natin. Wala na kaya tayong internet.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you 2 easy ways to ground yourself. The first one is going to be without an anti-static wrist strap. The next one is going to be with. So all you really need to do here is install your PSU onto your case and then plug it into a good working wall outlet. Once it's plugged in, make sure it's turned off. Now your case is grounded, and you can go ahead and touch the metal part of your case, or if you don't know which part is metal, or if it's mostly made of plastic, you can just go ahead and touch your PSU, the metal part of your PSU, once every few minutes. And then you can go ahead and just do what you need to. You can go ahead and set up everything, put your motherboard in, whatnot. And then to do it with an anti-static wrist strap, go ahead and put this in somewhere. I'll just put it in on the side of the screw. And there you go. Now I'm grounded. Now, you actually really don't need an anti-static wrist strap because what I showed you before is sufficient enough for most people. So if you want an anti-static wrist strap to be really on the safe side, because if you have carpet form like me, you might want to get it for the first time, but really it's not that big of a deal. Trust me, guys. After you build for the first time, it's really not a big deal. You don't have to worry about anything. I used to be concerned about short circuiting my motherboard or something like that, but don't worry, nothing like that's going to happen. You actually have to try to put an effort to short circuit something. But yeah, I hope this video helps you out. I'll have a playlist somewhere along the video here where you can click on it. It's
Okay, yun po yung short explanation kung paano ba yung self-grounding natin. So dito ang video na to, meron daw 2 ways kung paano nyo i-ground yung sarili nyo. First, make sure na naka-unplug and then touch lang kayo ng any metal parts sa computer system unit nyo. Basta ito yun, yung CSU natin. Any metal part. And then, the other thing, kung paano nyo mag-ground or ma-discharge yung sarili nyo by using static wrist strap. Okay, so ito ginagamit para siyang wrist strap talaga siya, na ikakabit lang, meron lang alligator clip na connected dun sa metal part ng CSU. Para makita nyo mga itsura niya, syempre, pwede natin tignan dito. Ayan, ito yung pinaka-itsura niya. Ayan, meron lang siyang alligator clip, tapos ito naman yung ilalagay nyo sa wrist. Tapos, yan, habang syempre ginagalaw nyo yung loob, for safety, para hindi kayo magulat in case, pwede kayong gumamit niya. Pero hindi na ako nagamit niya. Para at least alam nyo lang din yung proper proper procedure or safety precautions kapag maggagalaw na tayo ng computer system. Okay, so meron naman din ginagamit kung wala tayong anti-static wrist strap. Pwedeng yung computer system unit natin, pwede natin siyang i-place sa rubber mat or merong proper materials kasi na ginagamit doon is yung anti-static mat. Ayan. So ito namang mat na to, para lang siyang rubberized para at least hindi mag-flow yung kuryente kung saan saan. Ipi-place nyo lang syempre yung CSU dyan. Syempre, tatanggalin nyo muna. Tapos, dyan kayo gagalaw. Okay? So, syempre, sa ibabaw din ng table. Para at least, merong idea kung anong itsura nila. Okay? Okay, next slide na tayo. Pang-5. So, ito yung ating static discharge protection. You may use anti-static wrist straps. Always wear wrist straps that's grounded to discharge static buildup, and then work on non-carpeted surfaces. So kaya meron tayong yung pinakita ko sa inyong wrist anti-static mat, kasi hindi kayo paratis, mas safe. Huwag kayong, minsan kasi is may mga carpet pa yung mga flooring kapag magagawa. So wag kayong gagawa doon kasi possible na yung carpets can accumulate static charges. So use an static mat or table. Okay? So iwasan lang. Pero dito naman sa school, wala naman tayong carpet. So ayan, keep components in anti-static bags. So ito naman, store parts like RAM, hard disk drive, and motherboard in anti-static bags when not in use. So yun, para lang din ma-protectionan natin yung ating internal parts. So meron ulit video link dito. Check lang natin.
Oh, you got that fancy new graphics.
Easy.
Oh, but wait. You rub your feet on the carpet, you touch it, and death. So you've heard of static electricity, and you know that if you touch someone and that's bad. But how do you actually protect delicate, fragile electronic components from the danger of static electricity? Layer number 1 is usually some kind of an anti-static padded foam, usually gray, or bubble wrap that is usually pink. All right, so it's going to come inside one of those in all likelihood. Next up is your anti-static bag. This usually has some kind of a conductive material on the outside of the bag that allows electrostatic to be discharged without actually reaching the delicate components inside. Now, a common mistake that I see, particularly with motherboards, is people take that fresh motherboard out of the box, take it out of the bag, put it on top of the bag in order to call that an anti-static safe workstation. Wrong. The outside of the bag is conductive and not actually good to use. So now that it's all naked and stuff, how do you keep your new expensive graphics card from being destroyed? First of all, don't handle it by the sensitive components on the PCB. Handle it by the edges or by things like heat sinks, which are less likely to be adapted to oblivion. Number two is ground yourself. Dissipate static electricity by touching something that is connected to a ground, such as a power supply that is plugged in but turned off. Another option, if you can't remember to do that every time you move or every couple minutes, is to use an anti-static wrist strap. You don't have to keep it on your wrist. You can instead keep it on your ankle, but this will constantly ground you out as long as the other end, usually an alligator clip, is connected to something that will dissipate the electricity. A great example would be something like a plugged-in power supply. Some people plug them directly into the wall, but make sure you plug it into the correct part of the wall, or you might have a bit of a problem. Double check the way that the wiring works in your region. I could take another opportunity for that. Thank you for checking out this video on anti-static. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share with anyone who you think might benefit from it.
Yun. So yun, it protects our internal parts para hindi rin siya madamage sa mga static charges. So yun, makikita nyo may mga anti-static bag. Usually kapag brand new yung binili yung parts, meron talagang plastic na gano'n, may bubble wrap or may mga anti-static bags talaga na specific dun sa parts na yun. Okay, saka dun sa kaninang pinakita niya, yung labas is conductive kapag nakakita kayo ng anti-static bag na ayan. So ayan, huwag niyong gagawin yan. Okay, para at least maiwasan yung mag-build up yung mga electrical charges. Kasi nga, yung labas ng mga ganitong anti-static bag is conductive. Yung loob lang yung hindi. Okay? So at least nagkaroon tayo ng extra knowledge about dito sa mga anti-static bag na to. Okay, part pa rin ng ating safety precaution to protect syempre yung gagalaw and then syempre the equipment na ating ginagalaw. Okay, so preventing physical injury, sharp edges, ayan, be cautious when handling the metal parts of a case or hardware. So ayan, gaya nga nasabi ko kanina, may mga na-experience na akong students na sobrang nagmamadali. Mayroon kasi mga sharp edges kapag tatanggalin nyo na yan or kahit gagalaw kayo ng CSU, lalo na yung mga maninipis yung balat, usually babae na susugatan, mag-ingat lang lagi. So mas maganda kung merong gloves, pero tignan natin later on kung papagamitin ko pa kayo nun. Medyo matagal pa naman. Basta yun, be careful lang sa pagbabaklas. And then syempre yung next is yung cable management. Tie the cables to avoid tripping or damaging components. And then handle components gently. Don't force components into slots. Always check for alignment. 5 minutes. Sige, pagkasahin natin. Okay, so managing heat and ventilation, ensure the proper sige, putulin ko muna dito. Again, yung Zoom ko kasi is free lang. Parang 45 minutes lang siya. So may limit yung ating meeting. Ang ginagawa ko kapag ganito is pinuputol ko muna and then magsasend ako ng another link para ma-reset yung time. Stop share muna ako. Again, i-end ko muna tong meeting na to. Tapos magsisend ako agad ng another link para sa round 2 para mag-reset lang yung oras natin. Kasi baka hindi ko mapansin mamaya, biglang mag-cut yung ating connection. Okay, naiintindihan? So,
Yes po.
yun. So, end ko muna to tapos magsisend ako ng round 2 link natin. Okay, so round 2, tuloy ko lang kung ano yung naputol kanina. Kita na yung screen? Kita na ba?
Yes po.
Okay, so let's proceed. Saan na ba? Okay, so dito, preventing physical injuries. So, para maiwasan natin, yung mga sharp edges, and then mas organized kung maayos yung cable management nyo, and then yung pag-handle nyo ng components gently. Okay? And then, managing heat and ventilation, ensure proper airflow. Make sure, mailing pala ulit to. Make sure the system has adequate cooling. So, fans or heat sinks. So, yung mga fans kasi natin and heat sinks, yun yung kailangan natin para maging maganda yung heat ventilation natin. Okay, so panoorin lang natin tong ulit na link natin dito. Oh, 4 minutes.
When it comes to cooling down a PC, many enthusiasts and gamers want to make sure that they've got some serious flow going on. I know, of course, I'm not talking about your questionable hairstyle, but about airflow. But unlike buying, say, a ceiling fan, picking the biggest, fastest spinning computer fan you can find is not always the best solution. Don't get me wrong. Fan sizes and RPMs, how fast they spin, are important. But an element of fan design often overlooked by novice builders is whether the fan is optimized for high airflow or high static pressure. So what does that mean? I mean, can't any fan provide decent airflow if it spins fast enough? Well, actually, different fan blades are engineered to move air in different ways. Fans marked high airflow have one objective in mind: to move as much air as possible through an open opening. You might see the marketing for a high airflow fan focus on its CFM rating, which stands for cubic feet per minute. Since a cubic foot is a measure of volume, then this is indicative of the actual amount of air that the fan can either intake or exhaust, or I mean, if you think about it, it's both going to be up there. On the other side of the coin are high static pressure fans. Static pressure is actually a concept in fluid dynamics. Don't worry too much. You don't need a degree in physics to understand how this relates to fluid dynamics. Simply put, high static pressure fans are better at forcing air harder through small spaces. They may not move the same volume of air as a high airflow fan if they were both sitting on a desk with nothing to push through, but they typically blow air, a little bit of air, more strongly. So when exactly do you want to pick one over the other? Well, as a general rule, high airflow fans are better suited to be used as case fans. PC cases tend to be relatively open inside. That is, assuming you didn't cram a bunch of wiring into the front of it, or like Snoopy or something. Meaning that being able to move lots of air at once can result in more effective cooling. By contrast, static pressure fans typically find their homes on things like heat sinks or cooling radiators. Cooling components like these often have lots of metal fins that are used to increase the surface area of the device that needs to be cooled and to dissipate heat. So to cool off the heatsink properly, air needs to move through these fins with a sufficient amount of force. In this situation, to make sure that the amount of air moving through your heatsink is high enough, you've got to have high static pressure. But that doesn't mean that static pressure fans are a one-trick pony. In fact, they can often be a good choice for chassis fans if you've got some kind of an obstruction that might hinder airflow otherwise. For example, many cases have hard drive cages directly behind the front intake fan. So in this situation, a static pressure fan can be more effective at getting air through these small gaps. They can also be useful if you have a case with very narrow vents on the front, or a fan filter that's designed to filter the dust out of the air, but is of course going to obstruct airflow. Since many radiators and CPU heatsinks come with fans pre-installed, it's a good idea to ensure that they're high static pressure if you want to get the best performance possible. Despite the fact that these fans are better for CPU cooling, Some manufacturers stick with whatever standard airflow focus fan for whatever reason. So do your homework so you're getting the best performance possible out of your new cooling solution. After all, there's nothing quite like the feeling of seeing your temperature stay low after hours and hours of gaming. That is assuming you didn't build your computer into the side of an 85. We got a whole episode. Speaking of igloos, Braintree. Their code for easy online payments means if you're building a mobile app and searching for a simple payment solution, you're going to want to check it out. I mean, the payments API is an extremely important aspect of any successful app. Believe it or not, it's success. Good stuff, more videos just like this one.
Okay, so yun na. Pinutol ko na kasi at stay ba. Okay, so yun, basically, yung ating, saan na yung ating, ensure proper airflow is para ma-maintain natin yung lamig ng ating computer system unit. So kung mapapansin nyo, kapag yung mga tower case natin is meron siyang mga vents o hindi siya totally closed, meron siyang mga butas. Para at least, merong air intake saka merong air na papalabas. So parang kailangan kasi mag-circulate sa loob ng ating CSU yung hangin. So para makapasok at makalabas yung hangin, kailangan natin ng mga cooling fans kung tinatawag, and then exhaust fan naman. Pag sinabi natin cooling fans, ito yung nagpapalamig sa ating certain components like CPU. Kapag exhaust fan naman, siya naman yung naglalabas ng hangin. Okay? Now, itong fans natin at yung heatsink naman, bago ko makalimutan, is gaya ng sinabi doon kanina sa video is para ma-absorb niya yung heat, lalo na sa CPU kasi ang CPU natin is siya yung nagpro-produce ng mas mataas na init, kaya kailangan niya ng heatsink para i-absorb niya yung heat na pinoproduce ni CPU, and then may nakatutok sa kanyang cooling fan para at least yung init is malesen. Okay, o para mapalamig niya yung temperature ng CPU. Okay? So, ayan, clean dust regularly. Siyempre, kapag may mga alikabok yan, magbablock siya or magkakaroon ng harang yung hangin na dadaan in and out your computer case. So, dust can block airflow and overheat your system. Okay? And then, avoid overclocking without adequate cooling. So, overclocking generates more heat. Make sure your cooling system can handle it. So, dito naman, in some cases kasi meron mga CPU like Ryzen is pwedeng i-overclock. Mas bibilis yung performance ng computer, pero mas malaking chances na mas mabilis uminit yung inyong system or yung CPU. So, make sure lang na kung magta-try kayo mag-overclock, pero hindi naman na natin gagawin yun. Yun lang, kaya ng cooling system ninyo. By the way, meron mga cooling system na yung water cooling system na tinatawag. Pakita lang din natin para alam nyo. May picture lang. Ayan. Ayan. Meron ng mga latest technology ngayon na kung saan gumagamit na ng specific liquid or tubig para at least mas maganda yung cooling system niya. Hindi lang hangin. Okay, so yung parang siya sa motor, parang radiator. Ganoon na nilagay na rin na in-implement na rin sa PC. Pero wala tayo nito dito niya na puro lang tayo, hangin. Airflow lang. Okay, naririnig pa ba? Paki-check lang ulit. Sagot?
Yes po.
So dito na tayo sa slide 8. Tools you will need. Anti-static wrist strap, napakita ko na sa inyo yung image. Screwdrivers, appropriate sizes, alam nyo naman na yun. Phillips, saka flat. And then cable ties for organization. Ayun yung mga tali na may lock. And then compressed air canister, ito naman yung mga contact cleaner. Okay? Yung mga liquid agent na ini-spray. And then cleaning brushes for dusting. And then handling components with care, don't apply excessive force. If a component doesn't fit, don't force it. And then check for obstruction. So dito mostly kasi pag ganyan, huwag niyong pipilitin. It may damage the components kapag hindi nyo alam yung tamang procedure kung paano siya tanggalin or kung paano siya ikabit o ibalik dun sa standard position niya. Kailangan natin ng enough knowledge bago gumalaw ng isang computer system units. Okay? Next, touch only the edges. So avoid touching the gold contacts or pins on the components like RAM or the CPU. So it may take damages also kapag hawak lang ng hawak tayo kung saan, lalo na yung mga gold contacts natin. So conductor lang kasi yan, tayo is conductor din yung mga kamay natin. Pwede, baka mayroong electrical charges, mga static charges na ganyan, pwede nating ma-short mismo. Okay? And then store used parts safely. Always return parts to their original anti-static plugs after use. Then last slides na to. Ayan, okay na. So conclusions, key takeaways, safety first. Be cautious, protect your components, and reduce risks. So yun. And then remember natin, proper handling ensures the longevity of computer and also your safety. Okay, so any questions? May tanong pa regarding dito sa ating presentation? Wala nang tanong? Okay.
Wala na po, sir.
Wala nang questions, malinaw. Again, recorded to ha. Oh, now, after this, meron akong in-upload doon sa Google Classroom. Yung quiz para dito sa ating topic for the week or discussion for this week. Ayan. So ito yung quiz P1 and then mamaya kapag na-render ko na and then na-upload ko na yung recorded video, dito ko rin siya ilalagay sa classroom. So make sure kasali kayo dito ha. Okay? Tapos, once na na-answeran nyo, kapag natapos na, nakita nyo na yung final result or yung, alam ko hindi nyo makikita yung score, take a screenshot and then i-upload nyo dito sa inyong Google Drive folder. Okay? So, na-meet ko na kayo. Ayan, mag-check ako isa-isa. Wala pa rin data lahat. Okay, so stop ko na yung recording. Lang. Teka lang. Again, ulitin ko ha. Mabilis bago ko stop yung recording. Kapag napanood nyo na yung video or kahit after this, pwede nyo nang sagutan yung quiz na P1 dun sa Google Classroom nyo. And then after taking the quiz, take a screenshot and then i-upload nyo yan sa Google Drive folder ninyo kung saan ako nagpapa-upload ng mga registration form ninyo. Malinaw? Sagot?
Yes po.
Okay, good. Stop ko na yung recording para konti lang.